All right. Well, welcome to a home edition of Hashtag Finance. I'm your host, Barrington Miller, and I'm here with Evan from NexTech. Evan, what is happening? How's your family doing? Is everybody safe and sound?
Thanks for having me on the show, Barrington. Everybody is safe in my family. Obviously, the world is on fire. It's definitely a different world today than it was, just a few short weeks ago. A pandemic. I mean, nobody can plan for I mean, I guess they can plan for a pandemic, but in small cap land in my world, we weren't really thinking about a pandemic, but it's here. And NexTech is one of the very few lucky companies that's in the right place at the right time with the right business model.
Let's go right into it. What do you have going on, and how are you sort of prepared for this?
So I mean, NexTech, we're in a great position. We have over $3 million in cash and inventory, so we're not cash starved. We just did a financing in Q4 of 2019. We have multiple business segments that are benefiting from the new work from home and shop from home paradigm shifts, and they really are complete paradigm shifts that employers, businesses, and governments have now instituted due to the coronavirus. We have an e-commerce division segment that is seeing an increase, actually a surge in business. E-commerce is probably the segment that is still keeping people at work and still one of the few bright spots, probably the only bright spot in the economy today, other than maybe Zoom. But so to give you for instance of what it means to us. Normally, in our e-com business segment, over a weekend, we might get 90 orders. When we came in on Monday, just this past Monday, we had 900 orders.
Jesus.
Yeah. Every day, we normally get like 60 orders. We're getting 600 to 700 orders a day. So the good news is the business has exploded. The challenge is to keep up with all of that, right? It all happened. It was like a switch just got turned on where our business went from a steady stream to the dam broke and like unlimited opportunity. So that's one business segment, and to give you an idea of what that means in terms of dollars and cents, for the month of March, we hit about $1 million in sales for the month. Our previous best month was 800,000. Now we're in April, and we're doing right now we've been doing around 75,000 a day in business. If you extrapolate that out over 30 days, that's a monster number. Now, I don't know. We can't predict whether it's going to slow tomorrow or the next week. So I'm not saying that that's our number. I know, we have to be compliant, right? I'm just saying.
But the way we're looking at it, and everything I've been hearing and reading, nothing's changing anytime soon.
Right, I know.
And in fact, unfortunately, health-wise and safety-wise, it's going to get worse. And I'm in Toronto, just outside of Toronto, a place called Mississauga. I know you're in New York. How's that going?
New York is ground zero. Everybody's just home, and there's a lot of nervousness, I would say, in society and especially in New York. But New Yorkers are tough, and we're going to get through it and get to the other side. I mean, hopefully by the end of April we start to see light at the end of the tunnel. And you know, that's really all we can do, is just hope that things get better. You know, I will say, you know, going back to our business, that aside from our e-commerce business, Barrington, we have, you know, augmented reality, which is right smack in the middle of the shop from home paradigm shift
Oh,
as well,
sure.
right? Because you're able to see a 3D virtual model of the product that you're shopping for, without having to go into the store. And that's the whole point of augmented reality anyway. It was supposed to bridge the gap between shopping at home and shopping and having
The
to go to
store.
the
Yeah.
store. And so now you can't even go to the store. So we're seeing an uptick in use cases, and we're getting, you know, more and more inbound calls. And then we have an acquisition of a virtual conference and training platform that has a Zoom integration plus AR, and that's driving an enormous amount of new business opportunities for us. So again,
How are you going to keep up? How are you going to keep up? Like, this is,
I'm going to
you
tell
know,
you how.
this is silver lining and good problems
Right.
to have, but it's,
You're right.
you're go.
Yeah, it's go. So I am going to be one of the sales guys. I am going to start to get on calls starting next week,
You know,
because
everybody's a salesman. Our,
all hands, yeah, everybody becomes a sales rep. All hands, you're going to be one of our sales guys.
you know what? Actually, the CSE is, and when we produce this, and next week we'll be doing an Instagram live show. It's that's part of it. It's getting your story out, and it's showing us, showing people that we support companies like NexTech. That's our chairman of the board, Tom Caldwell. That's one of his things. Everybody's a salesman, or
That's it.
salesperson, and
Yep.
you're a living example, living proof.
Yeah, yeah, and that's basically the way I see it. Is that you know, when you know, all hands on deck means all hands on deck.
Yes, everything, every available thing.
Yeah,
Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some your road here, your road to the Canadian Securities Exchange, becoming a
sure.
listed company, and that skyrocketing takeoff.
Yeah, yeah. So my background is Wall Street. You know, I've spent 30 years, more than 30 years, in the world of finance, taking companies public. I started out really in the late 80s, and then in the 90s, I was able to take a company public by the name of Take-Two Interactive Software. The symbol's TTWO. You know, it was a $5 IPO with a $30 million market cap, and you know, took it public and turned into a $15 billion juggernaut. You know, Grand Theft Auto. So it was a grand slam, out of the ballpark home run.
Yeah.
Along the way, you know, I
Sorry,
learned.
I was just reminiscing about my Grand Theft Auto days.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's still a big game,
Yeah.
but I learned a ton from taking companies public, and you know, I was always an entrepreneur at heart, and I thought to myself, you know, when it came to augmented reality, that this was too good an opportunity to pass up. Raised a couple of $1 million, myself and a couple of friends of mine, put the initial $2 million worth of seed capital in, and I had been introduced to the Canadian Securities Exchange through a cannabis IPO, and I met a number of principals at the CSE, and you know, this idea that, you know, it's an exchange for entrepreneurs really, you know, it rings true, and it rang true to me. And just the people, the vibe,
Yeah.
the whole experience was very, very positive, as opposed to the typical, you know, experience with exchange. Regulators generally look at you with a weary eye. You know, they kind of look at you like, you know, what are you up to? And, you know, that kind of thing. I
Yeah.
felt like the CSE was much more like, you know, friendly, and much more open arms in terms of the experience. And so um, on top of that, there aren't really many options. I would say there's no other option for a small startup company that's looking to go public. Like the CSE really has become, in my opinion, and again, I've been doing this since the late 80s, the only exchange to fill the void that really across the border. You used to be able to go public as a small cap company, but with all the new rules and regs in place, it's really cost prohibitive. You just can't do it. So the CSE is that exchange for entrepreneurs. I found it through cannabis. I took my technology company public, NexTech AR Solutions, the first pure play AR company on the CSE.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really positive experience. Our trading volume has exceeded 1 million shares on many, many days. In fact, our stock, when we first listed October 31st of 2018, it was a 25-cent listing price. And the stock on its 1-year anniversary from October 31st, Halloween of 2018 to Halloween of 2019, our stock had gone up 1,000%, 1,000%, and liquid, meaning trading 300,000 shares a day on average. That's unheard of. I mean, obviously, the company did something right, but the exchange also did something right, and investors. A lot of people talk about the CSE as kind of like an exchange that is, let's say, the small, exchange that's,
we had this conversation on the phone when I called you last week, and yeah, you said you guys are known as the Cannabis Exchange, or just a small, almost regional, local exchange,
right?
And I flipped it back, saying a few years ago nobody knew who we were.
Right.
So now we're still taking those steps, and companies like NexTech are helping to break new molds, old molds that existed, and to show that we're ever changing, ever shifting.
Yeah, I mean, we're a pure play tech company.
Yeah,
and
we have a good tech story too.
Yeah,
that's for those who are listening and those who are watching. The hidden gem with the CSE is the tech play that exists, and there's gems like NexTech that are sitting there, trading, liquid, active, solid business, able to adapt and be part of this new reality that's been forced upon us, and we go forward, and we're still here, we're still open, and still working for you.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you an update, something like real time, right? So our stocks come down a lot with the market, but we're still up 4 times our listing price, right, from when we started. So in a year and a half, we're still up 400%, which is still amazing, right? We've come down a bit from the 1,000%, but still up a lot.
Yeah.
But yesterday, I did an investor conference, presentation, and the stock went up 30% on 800,000 shares. So, investors are still out there, alive and well. You'll still see bidding, you'll still see trading and investing. The markets are working, and there's liquidity. 800,000 shares again on the CSE in a single day is significant. And we only have, I think, 60 million shares outstanding right now. So it's not like we have, 1 billion shares outstanding.
Right.
800,000, right?
What's I know it's hard to, usually this is the part of the program where I ask, what's your what's your summer looking like, or what do you see happening in the fall, or where do you see markets headed, or
Yeah.
something like that? It seems when people say I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So I can give you my opinion because again,
Yeah,
not only have I, taken companies public, I've managed hedge funds and I really have some deep, deep knowledge and understanding of the capital markets. Um, I think, I was hopeful a couple of weeks ago that we were going to see a V type of, recovery.
right,
But because of the bungling of our politicians, in the US specifically, extending this into, instead of locking down, basically for 30 days and then opening up, they're doing the slow roll lockdown, state
right,
by state, which is causing a lot of disruption. So my opinion now has changed that um, this is going to last a bit longer and the recovery is going to take a bit longer. So it'll be more like a U shape instead of a V shape recovery, where in Q4 of this year, I think things will start to accelerate again. But I don't have much hope for the summer.
no,
And I think Q3, everybody's maybe going to just be trying to figure things out. I feel like the stock market, though, is a discounting mechanism, right? So what does that mean? It's like a machine that's able to view what's going to happen 6 months from now, right?
right.
Before we know what's going to happen, the stock market's already figured it out. It's magical like that. Right? Except with the pandemic, I don't think it had that in its,
No, it didn't.
its game plan,
It
right?
didn't account for that.
No, it didn't cover that. But what I'm predicting is that we've probably, I mean, it seems like the market's kind of bottomed here. I don't think we can go up, but it doesn't seem like there's a huge amount of downside. Seems like a lot of it's been factored in already. I mean, so, and from NexTech's position, which is really the only thing that matters to me, is NexTech, right?
Yeah,
From NexTech's position, we're in the right place at the right time. Everything that we thought was going to happen this year is happening, only it's accelerated
right.
dramatically.
Yeah,
And then that means that, if we thought we were going to be cash flow positive in Q4, which we did, we think now maybe it can happen in Q3. And so that's kind of the positive for us, is that it just accelerated our business so dramatically that it could even be Q2. Who knows, right?
well, the market knows. The market is that's the one constant in all of this is the. You know what? I was talking with one of our West Coast, or sorry, our Western senior correspondent and advisor, Mark Francis, based out of Calgary,
Hmm.
and he follows oil and gas. Alberta's known for that, and he said the contango that was going on between May futures and July futures. I think May was just over $20 a barrel,
Hmm.
and July was $27.
Mm.
And he hasn't seen that since '09. This is the second
Right,
largest gap there's been
right.
since '09. I think December's going for like $33 or
Yep,
something.
yep,
Market
yep.
knows something. Somebody knows something.
Total disruption. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but listen, hey, I want to just say thank you for taking the time. I know you got some company on your left hand side. I
Hey, you
think
can
it's
see my
and
that's the new work from home paradigm. You
no,
get
it is.
pets, you
Yeah,
get everything.
pets are like, why is everybody here? And listen, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Just wanted to say thank you for joining us
Yeah.
next on
Thanks,
Hashtag
Barrington.
Finance, and we'll be seeing you next week on Instagram Live.
Excellent. Thanks, Barrington. Great to meet you and great to
And
be here.
thanks a lot, and make sure everybody stays safe.
Thanks, you too.